You think you're making a healthy choice when you grab that tin of tuna from Tesco, high in protein, low in fat, quick and convenient for your lunchbox or sandwich at work. But right now, as you're reading this, half of the canned tuna sitting on British supermarket shelves contains mercury levels so high that if it were any other fish, it would be illegal to sell. And that's just the beginning. The tuna you're feeding your kids, the tuna you're putting into your body multiple times a week, thinking it's good for you, is contaminated with industrial chemicals that European authorities have tried to ban, wrapped in cans lined with toxins that disrupt your hormones, and in some cases, made with so many additives and engineered ingredients that it barely resembles real fish anymore. We're going to walk you through 6 specific types of tuna you'll find at Tesco that you need to avoid. And by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why that innocent-looking tin in your shopping trolley is anything but safe. Tesco tuna chunks in sunflower oil. Walk into any Tesco and you'll see their own brand tuna chunks in sunflower oil, stacked high in the tinned fish aisle. Office workers grab it for meal prep, students toss it into their baskets for cheap protein, parents stock up on the 4-pack thinking they're doing right by their families. It's affordable, it's convenient, and the label makes it look simple enough. Skipjack tuna, sunflower oil, salt. 3 ingredients. How bad could it be? Here's what they don't tell you on the front of that tin. Sunflower oil is a highly processed seed oil, extracted using industrial solvents and high heat, that damages the fatty acid structure and creates inflammatory compounds in your body. When you eat tuna packed in sunflower oil, you're not just getting fish, you're getting fish that's been sitting in this pro-inflammatory oil for months, sometimes years, absorbing it into every flake. Your body then has to process not only whatever's in the tuna itself, but all that degraded, oxidized oil. And that skipjack tuna? It's a predator fish that accumulates methyl mercury through bioaccumulation, feeding on smaller contaminated fish and concentrating the toxin in its tissue. The canning process doesn't remove mercury, it actually concentrates it, sometimes doubling or even tripling the levels compared to fresh tuna. Every time you crack open one of these tins, you're rolling the dice on how much mercury you're ingesting, because 57% of canned tuna tested across Europe exceeded safe mercury limits. That's more than half. And the European Union allows tuna to have mercury levels up to 1 part per million, 3 times higher than the limit for every other fish, purely because of tuna industry lobbying from decades ago. This isn't about safety, it's about keeping product on shelves and money flowing. But that's just the start. Flavoured tuna pouches, John West tuna with a twist. You see them at Tesco next to the plain tins. Trendy pouches with exotic flavours like tomato and herb, designed for people who want something more exciting than plain tuna. They market these as quick, healthy snacks. High in protein, low in saturated fat, naturally this, naturally that. Young professionals throw them into lunch bags thinking they're making smart choices. Parents give them to teenagers for after-school snacks. Look at the actual ingredient list and you'll see the deception. Yes, there's 62% skipjack tuna, but what about the other 38%? Water, sunflower oil again, dried tomatoes at just 5%, then it gets interesting. Modified tapioca starch, xanthan gum as a thickener, spirit vinegar, sugar. Modified tapioca starch is a processed additive used to bulk out the product and create a thicker, more appealing texture. Xanthan gum is an industrial thickener made through bacterial fermentation. These aren't ingredients you'd ever use in your kitchen. These are ingredients designed to make cheap fish and oil feel like a premium product. And here's the real problem. These pouches are marketed as convenient, healthy options for everyday eating, but you're consuming ultra-processed food dressed up as real fish. The tomato flavour you're tasting? It's not fresh tomatoes. It's 5% dried tomatoes mixed with sugar, vinegar, and thickeners to create an engineered taste experience. Your brain registers healthy protein, but your body is dealing with inflammatory oils, processed starches, and added sugars. This is exactly how food companies trick you into thinking you're eating well, when you're actually eating industrial food. If you think that's bad, wait until you see what they did with the pâté range. Tesco tuna pâté. This one sits in the chilled section at Tesco, looking sophisticated and appealing with its smooth, creamy appearance. People buy it thinking it's a step up from ordinary tinned tuna, something a bit posher for crackers or toast, maybe for when guests come over. The label says it's made with soft cheese and creme fraiche, responsibly sourced, even MSC certified. Sounds premium, doesn't it? Flip it over and read what's actually inside. 58% tuna, then single cream, creme fraiche, full fat soft cheese, water, tapioca starch again, corn flour, lemon juice, salt, black pepper. Notice how much of this product isn't even tuna. Nearly half of what you're eating is dairy, water, and starch is used to bulk it out and create that smooth, spreadable texture. Tapioca starch and corn flour serve one purpose: to make cheap ingredients stretch further while maintaining the consistency you expect from a pâté. This is marketed as a quality product, something responsibly sourced and carefully made, but in reality you're buying tuna mixed with fillers and thickeners to create volume without adding actual fish. The mercury concerns don't go away just because it's mixed with cream and cheese. The tuna is still skipjack, still a predator fish, still potentially contaminated, but now it's hidden inside a creamy mixture that makes it impossible to see what percentage of your tuna pate is actually tuna and what percentage is just engineered bulk. And just when you think you've dodged that problem, the next product hits you from a completely different angle. BPA-lined, tinned tuna. Every single Tesco canned tuna. You might think the biggest problem with tinned tuna is what's inside the can. But recent European testing revealed something that should terrify every person who regularly buys canned tuna from Tesco or anywhere else. The can itself is poisoning the content. Bisphenol A, known as BPA, is an industrial chemical used in the plastic linings inside nearly every metal can on supermarket shelves. Swiss consumer testing found BPA in all 10 canned tuna samples they analysed, and in every case, the levels exceeded what European food safety authorities now consider safe for human consumption. Some brands had BPA levels 20 times higher than the safe daily intake. One brand tested at 50 times higher. Even products that claimed BPA-free on the label still contain BPA because it migrates from the can lining directly into the fish and oil. BPA is an endocrine disruptor, meaning it interferes with your hormones, particularly estrogen. It's been linked to reproductive issues, immune system damage, developmental problems in children, and long-term metabolic disorders. The European Food Safety Authority lowered the safe daily intake for BPA by 20,000 times in 2023, after extensive research revealed how dangerous it is at even tiny doses. The European Commission is moving toward a total ban on BPA in food contact materials, but right now, today, it's still in nearly every can at Tesco. This isn't one dodgy product you can avoid by switching brands. This is structural contamination affecting virtually every tinned tuna option in that aisle. The only tuna products found to be free of BPA were those packaged in glass jars. Everything else, whether it's Tesco own brand, Prince's, John West, premium or value range, is delivering BPA directly into your system every single time you eat it. But this next item is even worse, because it pretends to be healthy. Tuna steaks with a little spring water or sunflower oil. Tesco sells these in slightly smaller tins, marketed as tuna steaks with just a little spring water or a little sunflower oil. The packaging suggests you're getting chunks of real tuna steak, minimally processed, almost like fresh fish but in a tin. People buy these thinking they're avoiding the heavily processed versions, going for something closer to real, whole food. But here's what a little oil or water really means. It's still industrial processing, still sitting in a BPA-lined can for months, still exposed to the same mercury contamination risks as every other tinned tuna product. The term tuna steaks creates an image in your mind of thick, fresh cuts of fish. But what you're actually getting are chunks of cooked, canned skipjack that have been processed, sterilized, and sealed in a metal container with enough liquid to prevent it from drying out. The "a little" marketing is genius, because it makes you feel like you're making a healthier choice with less oil or less liquid, when in reality the core problems haven't changed at all. You're still eating fish from a contaminated supply chain, still ingesting BPA from the can lining, still consuming a product that's been cooked at high heat and sealed for long-term shelf stability, using methods that have nothing to do with fresh food. This is how they get you, by making minor adjustments to the formula and repackaging it as something better, something smarter, when fundamentally it's the same industrial product with a different label. And that's not even the worst part. Prince's and John West branded tuna at Tesco. Walk down the tinned fish aisle at Tesco and you'll see them. The big names like Prince's and John West, brands that have been around for decades, brands your parents bought, brands that feel trustworthy and established. These aren't cheap own brand products. These are premium names that charge premium prices and promise premium quality. Look at the ingredients and you'll see the exact same formula as Tesco own brand. Tuna, sunflower oil, salt, or tuna, water, salt for the brine versions. Prince's tuna chunks in sunflower oil uses skipjack tuna, sunflower oil, and salt, identical to Tesco's version but at nearly double the price. John West is the same story. You're paying extra for a recognized logo and decades of marketing, but you're getting the same industrial fish, the same inflammatory seed oils, the same BPA-lined cans, the same mercury contamination. These brands have spent years building trust through advertising and supermarket dominance, convincing British families that they're buying quality when they choose a name they recognise. But the reality is that whether you buy Tesco own brand for £1 or Prince's for £2, you're eating industrially produced tuna that's been caught, processed, canned, and shipped using exactly the same large-scale methods designed for profit and shelf life, not for your health or safety. The only real difference is the label on the front and the extra money leaving your wallet. This isn't just about a few dodgy tins or one brand cutting corners. This is about an entire industrial system built on mass production, long supply chains, and regulatory standards that prioritize industry profits over public health. Tuna is caught in massive purse-seine nets from the western Pacific Ocean, processed in centralized factories, cooked at high temperatures to sterilize it, then sealed in BPA-lined cans, and shipped to warehouses across Europe, where it sits for months before it even reaches Tesco shelves. By the time you open that tin, the fish inside has been dead for months, possibly over a year, and has undergone industrial processing, specifically designed to make it survive that journey without rotting, changing color, or losing texture. That level of shelf stability doesn't happen naturally. It happens because of high heat sterilization, vacuum sealing, and chemical additives that keep the product looking and tasting consistent, no matter how long it sits in a warehouse or on a shelf. And when something goes wrong at one of those central factories, contamination spreads fast. Mercury contamination, allergen labeling failures, BPA migration, bacterial contamination from improper processing. All of these risks multiply when you're producing millions of tins from a single facility and distributing them across an entire country. The European Union knows this system is broken. They know mercury levels in tuna are dangerously high, which is why over half of tested cans exceeded safe limits for other fish. They know BPA is an endocrine disruptor, which is why they're moving toward a total ban on it in food packaging. But in the meantime, while regulations slowly catch up, millions of British families keep buying tinned tuna every single week, feeding it to their children, eating it themselves for lunch at work, trusting the labels and the logos and the sustainability certifications without realizing what's actually inside. Imagine a pregnant woman grabbing a tin of tuna at Tesco because she's been told fish is good for brain development, not knowing that the mercury inside could harm her baby's neurological growth. Imagine a parent with a child who has allergies, trusting that the ingredient label is accurate, not knowing that centralized production means one mistake at the factory could trigger a reaction in thousands of households at once. Imagine someone trying to eat healthier, switching from processed meat to tinned tuna, not realizing they've just swapped one form of ultra-processed food for another. This isn't just about bad ingredients. It's about a system that's proven it can't always guarantee your safety, even while you keep trusting the logo above the door. So what do you actually do? You're busy, life is expensive, and not everyone has time to cook fresh fish from scratch every single day. We get it. But there are realistic ways to avoid the worst of what we've just shown you. First, if you absolutely must buy tinned tuna, choose products in glass jars instead of metal cans whenever possible, because they're the only ones consistently found to be free of BPA contamination. Second, check the ingredient list every single time and avoid anything with seed oils like sunflower or rapeseed, modified starches, thickeners, or long lists of additives. If it's got more than 3 ingredients, it's not just fish anymore. Third, drastically limit how often you're eating any tinned tuna, especially if you're pregnant, breastfeeding, or feeding it to young children, because mercury accumulates in your body over time and the damage is cumulative. Better yet, when you can, choose fresh fish from the counter at Tesco or from local fishmongers, where you can see what you're buying and ask questions about where it came from. Cook simple meals at home with recognizable ingredients. Fresh fish, olive oil, lemon, herbs, nothing engineered or processed. Make your own tuna salad from scratch if you want convenience, using real ingredients you control. And when you're shopping for quick, easy protein, consider eggs, plain cooked chicken, or even just making extra portions when you cook dinner so you've got leftovers for lunch the next day. This doesn't mean you'll never eat tinned tuna again, but it does mean you stop treating it like a daily staple. Stop trusting the labels just because they're familiar, and start questioning what you're actually putting into your body every single time you reach for that tin. Next time you walk past the tinned fish aisle at Tesco, remember what's really inside those cans. Mercury that's legally allowed at levels 3 times higher than other fish, BPA leaching from the lining into the contents, inflammatory seed oils, processed starches and thickeners, and a supply chain designed for shelf life and profit, not for your health. If you wouldn't cook with those ingredients at home, why would you let Tesco and these brands feed them to you every single day?